Welcome back to Duel of the Debates. I'm going to lose again, probably. I'm Danny.
All right, I'm Dan. Danny's going to try to butter me up as best as he can, apparently, this week. So we'll see how that goes.
You want to ride home?
He is
No!
You work hard.
That makes no sense. If anyone's going to drive me home, it's going to be John.
Also valid, but he has his own car here. Someone has to come back to get it.
Anyway, so, yeah, John, Tom, welcome back. Week 3 of 3.
Want a burger?
What? He's still trying to... My guy. Okay.
That just tells me that you don't believe in your argument.
He doesn't
believe so
He doesn't
hard in my
believe in
argument.
himself. You got to believe that you will win. You will duel to the death and unalive these... Well, not actually, but, you know, it's fine.
Close enough.
Anyway, let's get to it. Okay. The question we have for this week is not what, but who. James Bond. Who should play the next James Bond? Personally, I think it should be Henry Cavill. You guys disagree with me, that's fine. But, you know, it's okay. It's okay.
The winner is me.
So, let's go around the table. Let's see what you guys have. John, who do you got?
I chose Aaron Taylor Johnson.
My son's safe, but keep me my money safe.
You know, I don't know a thing or two about being a parent, but you know what I would do?
All right. Danny, who do you got?
Jack O'Connell.
And Tom, who do you got?
Paul Mescal.
You look to me to speak. I know not what to say other than we have all known too much death.
All right. Boys, it's time to get into this. It's time to duel. John, you're going to start us off with your opening statements. You're on the clock.
So when I think of James Bond, I think of three things. I think suave, I think capable, and I think British. Well, only one of us has a British actor. This guy right here. Aaron Taylor Johnson would be the...
Don't even know the guy's name.
You know what? Because I know his other names. Great. He coins both sides of what a good James Bond would be. We've seen in Bullet Train how he can be suave and charming and wear a good suit. And we've seen in multiple other movies his actual action prowess. Kick-Ass, Bullet Train, Godzilla. There are plenty of... out of these three, he is able to encompass the most of every caveat of what a good James Bond is. Whereas I believe the other two, and I'll get into it, are very one-sided and would not make a full James Bond. They would just be a partial adaptation. And they're both Irish. Let's get a British one in there for once.
All right. Danny.
Yeah, it's been Irish the whole time, I'm pretty sure. I might be wrong. Whatever.
Legit?
Yeah, you have...
Because I thought it was British.
Don't worry.
Well,
I have
British
notes.
the whole time.
Oh, don't worry.
All
There you
right.
go.
Danny, you're on the clock.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, I picked Jack O'Connell, and when I think of James Bond, I'm thinking you want well-rounded, and you want somebody who can act, and a great revolutionary thing that Daniel Craig did, I think, was introduce more human emotions and more broken stuff, and I want more of that, and so Jack O'Connell, I can see him being very suave. He looks good in the suit, but he's also, if you guys have seen Starred Up, he is a scrapper in that movie. He can really get down with the fights, and he's kind of like a mad dog in it. And he really sells me, but he's also got a lot of range, as we've seen like with Charm in Sinners. And he's also topical. He's kind of happening right now. Money Monster, he is great in that too. Let's see what else I got. Fuck off. My favorite fight scene is in all of James Bond is when he's drowning a guy in a sink, and Jack O'Connell has that vibe. He's brutal.
He has the vibe of drowning someone in a sink. All right, I love it. I also love Sinners. Love that reference. Moving on to Tom. You're on the clock.
Okay, so Paul Mescal, first of all, the fact that he's Irish has no bearing on whether or not he should be Bond. Sean Connery is Scottish. Pierce Brosnan is also Irish. So Gladiator 2 is all the proof that we're ever going to need that Paul Mescal would be the perfect Bond. Not only is he an incredible action hero, when he stands up to literally actors like Pedro Pascal, Denzel Washington, absolutely is a companion in those scenes with them. really, really good fight scenes. He's ripped. He's 29 years old, perfect age for Bond. Like, Bond should be early 30s, mid 30s. And he's also a pretty good ladies' man. In the beginning of the film, in Gladiator 2, he has a wife that he loses. I really do think that Paul Mescal can be both the action hero that kills and the ladies' man. So,
all right. Wow, yeah. Tom, it took you 3 weeks, but you finally almost used all the time. I love it. All right. Moving on to our rebuttal round. John, you're on the clock.
So we need to take into account that, Aaron would be the first British actor to play a British secret spy. Yeah, like you said, it's been everyone else but British, so I think that's an extra point to him. To your point, Paul Mescal is zero charisma. We did a episode on Gladiator 2, watch it, it's seen it before, where we talked about how wooden he was, how he didn't stack up to Denzel or why am I blanking on the other guy's name?
Pedro Pascal.
I don't know why I blanked. He has no charisma. We didn't see him woo the girl. He just had a wife. That doesn't mean he's good with ladies. And to your point, this isn't a singing competition. We're not singing some Irish shanties. That's on my phone, bro. That's a bop. But James Bond, to me, is not a scrapper. He is a trained special agent. A scrapper is not James Bond. A scrapper is a street-level thug, or at least the way you're describing it. I haven't seen him do that much combat. I see him more as a suave guy. But
all right. I love the seen it before reference. All right, moving on to Danny. You're welcome. All right, Danny, you're on the clock.
Aaron Taylor Johnson is too cookie cutter of a pick. He's too well known as a name as well, and other things that he's done. You don't want to think like we were talking with Tom Cruise. If Tom Cruise was James Bond, you'd be like, that's Tom Cruise. So you're thinking that's Aaron Taylor Johnson. That's Quicksilver.
What is the accent?
I don't know. That's stupid.
It's his dumb voice.
He gives off a vibe that's too clean cut. Like, yes, James Bond should have the appealing part of it. Like, he has that, but the vulnerability underneath and the range and the clean, it's just not. It's not there with him. He maybe fit more in a Roger Moore era, like slapstick, because he did that in Bullet Train already. Paul Mescal, yeah, you're right. He might as well just be a glass of 2% milk. I don't see him embodying the prestige that James Bond requires in the range. We've only seen him in
one movie.
Yeah,
at least that's all I've seen him in.
All right, Tom, last boy, you're on the clock.
Okay, so Jack O'Connell is a nobody. The most famous action film that I could find from his filmography is the sequel to 300. I just don't think he has the accolades to really stack up to being Bond. Aaron Taylor Johnson, on the other hand, has real action accolades. However, all of his best action films are ones where he's the supporting character. So, like James Douglas in Outlaw King does a great job, but when you put him in his own action films, Kraven the Hunter, absolutely terrible. So I think Aaron Taylor Johnson as a main action hero cannot work as a supporting character, probably. But the only times Aaron Taylor Johnson has ever been in a lead role, he's fallen flat.
All right. So. Very nice. Very nice. All right. It is time for the free-for-all round. Time is yours, guys. Fight.
So right off the rip, you can't blame Aaron Taylor Johnson for Kraven. That was a Sony Spider-Verse without the Spider-Verse. That's not on him.
He still was super cringy in it.
He signed the dotted line.
Yeah, he signed it, but all
he
the
still
CGI,
handed in a shit performance.
It wasn't that
what
shit.
What do you want?
No, his performance was actually good. Everything else was terrible. Well, the writing was bad, but again, that's not his fault. His hands were kind of tied in that. But again, Bullet Train, and not for nothing, you just said it yourself. He's in. He's the now.
He's already done
about him.
Parody of James Bond.
Exactly. Give him the real deal. Why not?
No.
And range, he was in Nosferatu. All that emotion he had.
I want to fuck my dead wife.
Yeah.
That's range.
No, that's him being a fucking creep.
That's range. That's different.
It's
he goes from being
but again,
an action star.
Must bounce on it. Okay, sorry.
Crazy style.
Crazy style. Focus.
But even then,
the breath
even if you
thing.
took the end out of, even if you took the emotion he showed for the loss of his children and his wife, and the frustration he had for dealing with this crazy chick
was
that was
loud.
just in
It
his
was
house.
loud
but
acting.
that's range.
The
Whether or
best-
not you agree with that,
the
that's
best James
range.
Bond scenes are him dealing with this extraordinary circumstance.
You mean like extraordinary, like finding out that your wife and kid are dead? Extraordinary.
No,
like,
because that's like,
that sounds pretty
no,
extraordinary.
my
to me.
wife and child. No,
He did not sound like that.
I want to fuck my dead wife again.
Was that the line? I don't remember that,
That
line.
was. He might as well said it. You know, he's might.
See, I don't see where you see Paul Mescal being wooden.
Because he was.
Because he got outshone
was-
by Pedro Pascal, who
yeah.
was only in the movie for 10 minutes.
And Denzel.
I don't
And
think so.
And the brothers. What's his name? Joe.
I think
That's how bad the movie was. I don't remember their names.
Emperor Caracalla and whatever the other one was.
So
But
he has no charisma, and the action scenes in that movie that he were in were not good.
I
It
think
was
the
a very
only
special-
reason-
Here we go with the action.
the only reason
Wait a
people wanted to
fuck.
see that
Everyone.
film was to see Paul Mescal.
No.
like
No,
it's-
opposite.
No,
bro.
I went to see Pedro Pascal.
Pedro Pascal and Denzel. That's
Yeah,
who.
that's
That's who
that's
you
who
went
I
to
care.
see.
Yeah,
And
and
Denzel's Paul Mescal
I thought
You
Denzel.
went to
I thought
see
that
it
was
for
one of
the
the
director
worst.
because it was what's his name again? Why am
Ridley
I
Scott?
Yes, Ridley Scott. All the good action scenes were done cinematically. Paul did nothing to be like, yeah, he's going to be a good action star. There's nothing he did in the scenes that made you go, yeah, that's going to. Nothing sticks out in my mind that he did in the movie that stood out. Everything was done by Pedro,
I think-
Denzel, and the director.
You really didn't like Macrinus versus Lucius at the end of the film?
No, made no sense.
Really?
You portrayed Denzel as this super political, smart,
Yeah.
smart dude, and then it ends with a sword fighting scene. It did not
Yeah,
tonally
and
make sense. But
he
we're not
can-
talking
Well,
about
I
that
mean,
movie.
they
supposed
tell
to-
you through the whole film how he's a gladiator. But
Yeah,
like,
and I brought that up and seen it before, but that doesn't apply.
It's not going to work this time.
Damn it! But that doesn't apply for Paul. It was a generic sword fight that he was underwater for half of it.
I think the best thing that Paul Mescal did specifically in Gladiator 2 was just do a bad like take on Russell Crowe's Maximus. He just kind of did it like I'm his son.
Well, he tried to play like a reverent hero that just lost the love of his life. And
Maximus.
And yeah,
Again, we talked about all those points, and not for nothing. Again, he went from one to. And again, I'm not blaming him. I'm blaming the writing. That tonally, he went from like, I need redemption. I need to avenge my family, and then immediately he's like, oh yeah, I'm not mad. I'm not mad, Pedro. We're buddies now. Oh no, Pedro's dead.
All right,
I
but-
stabbed
all right.
you.
But we're
I'm
talking
sorry.
about the movie. So he was I only know him from this one movie, but he was very bland and he did not meet up charismatically, nor did he do anything action wise to make him stand out. So those are the two coins of James Bond.
so
he's out.
Here's no, because
Okay.
you could say the same thing about Daniel Craig in every role that Daniel Craig was in before Casino Royale.
Okay. We're not
Would-
talking about Daniel Craig.
Yeah, but Daniel Craig ended up being
I
an
think
amazing Bond.
to be fair, I'll do
You
a
know.
hot take. I don't think he was a good James Bond.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
said it.
hard disagree. I think he was the
said
best
it.
one.
Awful.
I
Yeah,
said
he's
it.
the best Bond.
Because
Yeah.
he could do everything.
I don't
And
know.
that's why I think
He's
Jack
a
O'Connell was
spy.
like
The best
the
Bond.
next
He's supposed to
version
be
of
a spy, but explosions follow him everywhere he goes. That's a bad spy.
Daniel
All right.
Craig is best. Bond.
Okay, I have some questions here. First off, I'm deducting points for saying Daniel Craig is not a good James Bond.
Let me
no,
rephrase.
no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm
He's
kidding.
acting-wise, he's
let me
good.
ask you
I'm
my
saying
question
he's
now.
just
acting
Yeah,
like he's
acting,
good.
no, I'm saying acting wise, he's a good James
All
Bond,
right.
but I'm saying in the movies
And
themselves,
that's why I think
he's a bad
Jack
spy.
O'Connell has that. He's done.
No, he doesn't.
He's done the different
Danny.
types of
He's
roles.
done no action.
Danny. So Jack O'Connell, he's a nobody with no accolades. What do you say to that?
I say that's just false. His first role was Unbroken, where he carried the entire movie on his back. He lifted that fucking I-beam. He had the suave in the
Cool, it's
beginning.
a drama.
Does anyone know what Unbroken is? No.
Yes, it's a phenomenal movie.
Yeah,
How
it's
dare
great.
you?
He carried
Deduct
that movie
points.
on his back.
That was
That's
a
where everybody,
beautiful
like,
movie.
this
I'll take
guy-
points.
What
But
the
that, like,
fuck is Unbroken?
He's a POW in Japan.
Yeah, great movie. Produced
That's
by,
a cool
uh,
premise.
Angelina
That's a
Jolie.
cool premise.
Yeah. It was a great movie. The sequel was not good.
There's a sequel?
Yeah, there
Bingo.
is. Yeah, don't.
How do you even make a sequel to that?
Yeah.
I think it was like post-war, which it had a chance to be good. But again, side
he
note.
in
Well,
side
anyway,
note.
more stuff about Jack O'Connell.
So the only movie is Unbroken, which is a drama. He did not show any.
He was great. He had the charisma in Sinners.
There was okay. The charisma, yeah, he was charismatic. James Bond is more than
charismatic side
there's
of James
more
Bond.
to James Bond than charismatic.
I know.
You are one-sided.
There's a fighting side to him.
What you're naming
Start
a
Up.
movie I've
Watch
never heard.
Start Up.
You're
It's
naming
a
a movie
great
I've never
movie.
heard, and you're describing
Well, let's
it
hear
as a
about
way-
Start. No, let's hear about Startup. Go ahead.
Once again, nobody. He's a nobody.
Because he's
Talk
working
about
on the
Startup.
craft of acting.
Describe
he's trying
describe
different
his
roles.
fighting
Supporting
style
actor.
in Startup because I want to be able to gauge this.
Well, he's in prison. It's a prison movie.
Okay,
that
not James Bond style. Go on.
He's in the whole movie's about him in prison with his dad in the same. He's in the same prison. It's more of a drama that way, which is also another reason why he's great in that because he can play with that between him and his dad. It's Ben Mendelsohn.
You're ignoring.
So
the
he's a
question I
scrapper,
asked you.
and it's dramatic. So that's what Startup's about.
So
He's,
so how is he fighting in the movies? In movie.
Well, yeah, he's a scrapper in that, but
Okay.
he's got this kind of like
I don't think anyone would describe James Bond as a scrapper.
all right, let him talk. Let him talk.
Sorry.
Yeah, he's
Go
not
on.
Bond is not a scrapper.
Yeah, but let him talk. Let him talk.
He's a British special forces soldier.
Well, that's the point of James Bond, at least in what they did with Daniel Craig. He starts off as that, and he grows to be more, or what do you call it? More better formed or whatever.
Defined.
Defined, yeah.
Seasoned.
Polished.
Polished. Yeah, so he kind of gets that. Because, like, the first scene we see him, he drowns a guy in a sink. That's Jack O'Connell. Like, he can do that. I know I can do that. And then he can have that kind of, love-hate kind of sassy relationship with M. He can get along. He's good in an ensemble, as we've seen in Sinners. He has that charm. He's the most well-rounded actor out of all of these. Aaron Taylor Johnson is like, picking. His last movie was Craven the Hunter, for God's sake. Like, the man is not a well-rounded
They
actor.
are allowed bad movies. Again,
Okay.
that was a
It's
corporate
quite a
movie.
few bad
Well,
movies
since
that
we're
he's-
moving on
Quite a
to
few.
Aaron
Wait, no,
Taylor
hold on.
John, okay.
It's like picking Wolf of Wall Street as your favorite movie. It's just like that one. It's like
What's
wrong with
like-
that?
it's
First of all, what's wrong with that?
It's like the frat boy go-to.
You mean that-
That's the
you mean
greatest
that
movie
odd-
ever.
Wolf of Wall Street's a fantastic film.
Yeah.
It's not the greatest
it's
movie
great.
ever, and it's not the best Scorsese
But it's like
movie.
if you ask anybody, just any like frat guy like on the streets, like
Okay,
what's your favorite
what does
movie?
this have to do with Aaron
Yeah,
Taylor
It's
Johnson?
just so it has that vibe where it's just like, are you sure? Are you really sure?
He's got the frat boy vibe,
Like
is
that's
what
like
he's saying.
on,
Does
like,
he though?
Yes.
Does he have a frat boy vibe?
He doesn't.
In
He doesn't have the.
Nosferatu, he had a frat boy vibe.
He has
in
the juvenile.
kind of.
He has the juvenile feel to him.
Okay, John, I got a question about Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Yes.
So I believe Tom said he was more of a supporting man. So what do you say to that? He's not a leading man.
Yeah, he's been in supporting roles, but I think he has taken the spotlight. Like in Bullet Train, Clementine, he took every scene he was in.
It's not a
he took.
leading role.
I'm agreeing with that, but I'm saying his charismaticness, he demands the spotlight. And for somebody, what leading roles was Daniel Craig in before he became James Bond?
Layer Cake, Tomb Raider.
Never heard of it. Tomb Raider with
Layer Cake.
Angelina Jolie.
Layer
that
Cake.
Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's an
Layer
Angelina
Cake
Jolie
got
movie.
him the role as James Bond.
Did it?
Yes, it
I'm
did.
asking 'cause
Ask
I've
the
never heard of
ask
it.
the producer and director. They said they saw Layer Cake. That's James Bond.
Okay. So I think the fact that he hasn't had that many starting roles, I think it means there's the potential for him to have that identity as James Bond. You're saying people know him as this actor.
Everybody knows who Aaron Taylor Johnson is, though.
As what role?
He already-
It's not like everyone
'Cause
sees
he's
Henry
been-
Cavill
he's
as
been
Superman.
around.
I'd say everybody under 35 knows who he is.
Yeah, they know who he is, but they're not like, oh, I can't see him as any other role because he's been in that role so many times. He hasn't had that. There's no
They see
RDJ
Quick-
Iron Man effect.
just
That
too
was
many
one
supporting
movie.
roles.
Quicksilver was one movie. That's not like
couple.
he was in it for that long either.
I'm just saying,
Spoilers.
people
he
know who
died.
Aaron Taylor
Yeah,
Johnson is.
They know who he is.
They
but
associate him with
With who?
Quicksilver.
With one
Kick-Ass,
movie?
With Godzilla.
Yeah, these are all separate movies. No one's going to look at Aaron Taylor Johnson and be like, I can't buy him as James Bond because he's so-and-so.
But he's not James Bond. I don't think he can step into those shoes.
And I think that's where you're wrong. I think his charisma and his fighting capabilities would allow him to step into the shoes.
Every time he's been given a leading role, he falls flat. Craven is the best.
We can't keep
example
talking
of
about
that.
Craven because it's Sony. Every Sony movie is falling
that's
flat.
not-
Well,
it's not
on
Sony.
him.
It's funny
It's
you
not- that's
mentioned
not
that
Sony.
because Amy Pascal, known for her stuff with Sony, is now the head of the James Bond stuff.
Oh, fuck. We're
Just-
Oh shit!
Just putting that out there.
Connections, baby.
No, that's not good for Aaron Taylor
Yeah,
Johnson.
no, it's not.
That's
No,
not
it's
good
not.
for Aaron Taylor Johnson, my guy.
The movies
Craven
are going to
Bond.
be shit.
Exactly. So if the movies are going to be shit, let's go with your role.
If the movie's going to be shit, let's put the guy who's in shit movies.
Again, it's not.
in the
He's
shit
not
movies.
in shit movie. He's been in one shit movie that was run by a shit production company. That's not on him.
Godzilla was not the best.
Wasn't shit.
Who is the author of the original Bond books? I
Ian
know that's
Fleming.
Great question.
Ian Fleming.
I don't know.
Yeah, Ian Fleming. He's rolling in his grave.
Yeah.
If that lady becomes the
Yeah.
the lead.
Well, I mean,
Is that
the
confirmed or is that
Broccoli-
rumored, Dan?
Is it
What?
broccoli or broccoli?
Amy Pascal,
That
she
family?
is.
She's confirmed.
She is running James Bond now at Amazon Studios.
Oh,
Yes.
right.
Oh yeah, because Amazon bought Bond. Oh yeah, we're screwed. Daddy Bezos.
They're going to
Daddy
go in a
Bezos
spaceship
does
with
it
Katy
again.
Perry.
Yeah,
You know what?
Yeah.
You know,
All right, Tom, I got a question for you.
Yep.
So you mentioned Gladiator 2. What else we got for James Bond for Paul Mescal?
Other than here's the thing. Okay, listen. Paul Mescal has real range. He's a theater actor. He's done a ton. He's done Shakespeare plays. He's done A Streetcar Named Desire. He's done Merrily We Roll Along. Like, he has real stage accolades that could lend to Bond. Bond is all about interpersonal relationships with women, relationships with his supervisors, relationships with other soldiers. Like, he is all about making connections with people. For half of Bond films, he's talking to people. Paul Mescal is that actor. Like, he's not just an action hero. He can do dramatic work. His work in theater exemplifies that. Like, he started as a theater actor and then got to reprise that when he did Saturday Night Live. So I think that he definitely has a little bit more range than just Gladiator.
What do you guys have to say to that?
I'm not going to the
disagree.
theater,
He doesn't
so-
have that prestige that Bond needs.
But
You know?
I think it's too early for him. I think if we're, again, I can't talk about the theater because I haven't seen it, but I am a movie guy, and I think it would be premature to put a guy in that position that has only been in one movie.
He's already had a leading role, though. I will
Is
say
that leading,
Yeah,
though?
yeah,
I wouldn't consider that leading.
Gladiator 2 is a leading
Technically,
role.
but again,
He's the lead
He's
of the
the
movie.
character.
yeah, he's the character, but when you get overshadowed by two huge Hollywood actors, I wouldn't call you the lead.
See,
we probably talked about him the least in the episode.
We need to address this. Gladiator 2 is maybe Denzel Washington's one of his worst performances. So, like, it's not
Politics.
it's so bad. It's so bad.
The movie wasn't good.
And but that's where Paul Mescal shined because
because he was also bad?
no, because he was better than these incredible actors
No, he wasn't.
that are playing bad roles. Macrinus is a bad role.
He was the
Like,
shiny
it was a-
piece of corn inside of the ship.
He
Hey, don't talk about Wonder Woman, man.
He wasn't. Paul Mescal was, honestly, when I saw Gladiator 2, I went back to a family member who I always watch movies with, and he said, "What do you think of it?" And I say, the only reason you should watch that movie is Paul Mescal.
And see, we think that, or at least I'll say we, because we talked about it. At the very least, I thought it was the opposite. I was like, who's this guy? Bland, not doing anything, talking about how he's Maximus's dad, which isn't his fault because I get it. That's
Son.
the writing. You know what I mean.
I'm just
I'm zoning. I'm coasting. But
He's zeroed in.
I'm zeroed in. Pedro overshadowed the shit out of him.
He did.
Denzel overshadowed the shit. Even the dude that had the syphilis and was the emperor, even his scenes. The monkey overshadowed him, for fuck's sake. Everyone overshadowed this guy because he was so just, hello, I am Maximus's
Maximus.
son.
nepotism for the win.
All right. I think it's time
disagree.
for our closing arguments, unless you guys have anything else you want to talk about. No? All right.
No.
John, closing argument time. You're on the clock.
Again, James Bond is British, suave, sophisticated, and capable. Aaron Taylor Johnson has proven to be an action hero. He's been in several action movies. Whether or not you like them, he is still able to hold his own and doing his own stunts better than some actors that have been doing it for years. His charisma has shown through the roof in his last few movies, and his overall range, if we want to keep talking about that, he has changed a long way. So yeah, Paul is neither, hasn't done action, has no charisma. Jack O'Connell, beautiful singer, great singer, not a action hero. The also unknown, the only movies you talked about are a drama, and the action you did talk about does not fit James Bond's aesthetic. So Aaron Taylor Johnson would be the best overall fitting role and has the potential to do unknown stuff with the amount of experience that he's been doing.
All right. Danny, you're on the clock.
I just think everybody's. I think at least me and Tom agree. The best James Bond has been Daniel Craig. He introduced a less, perfect James Bond, more flawed, a little haunted. I think Jack O'Connell, out of all these picks, has that. In his acting, he's proven to do it in different roles. And I think his fighting style, it would be something new to add to the James Bond canon of things. So I think, so he's not exactly Daniel Craig. Aaron Taylor Johnson is like the first guy you think of, and you're like not really thinking about it too much, and there's not a lot of thought put into it. You're like, that guy. And I just don't see, I just don't think he could fit into that Paul Mescal of Wooden. Hasn't done much. Can't really fill the James Bond shoes.
Seems like you got put in a box there.
Well, I was trying to come up with a word. I didn't want to waste
I know. All good. All right, Tom, you're on the clock.
If there's anything that Sean Connery and Pierce Brosnan taught us, is that you do not have to be British to play Bond. Paul Mescal, perfect age. He's young. By the time they start shooting this movie, he'll be the perfect age for Bond. He's good looking, physically fit. He's proven his action accolades with Gladiator, regardless of how wooden you may think he is. He was a great action hero in that film. He has real acting range in his theater work, whereas Aaron Taylor Johnson is every single leading role he has had, he has fallen flat. He is a supporting character that cannot fill the shoes of Bond, and Jack O'Connell simply does not have the film accolades to measure up to what Bond should be. So it's really not a contest. Paul Mescal is the clear action, dramatic, personal actor for Bond.
All right. Before I say all this stuff,
I was gonna play the song.
Oh,
you guys all made very good. You guys
time.
each all made very good points. I mean, let's start off with all the accolades that you guys said, and the adjectives: suave, capable, British, sophisticated, well-rounded, broken boy. So these are all the random adjectives you guys had to describe James Bond. John, I liked what you said about him being, Bullet Train. He got the suave, very good James Bond-esque stuff going on. And we know he can do action. He's got all that stuff going on as well, and he demands the spotlight. All right. For Jack O'Connell, I want to see James Bond drown someone in a sink. Dan, you made me want to watch that. That sounds sick, first of all.
Oh, I mean, you watch Casino Royale. You can watch that.
I know, but he's got the drown in the sink vibes. And you're right. I did just buy Casino Royale, too. That's hilarious.
Favorite James Bond movie.
But yeah, he does have the charm, as we saw in Sinners, for sure. Unbroken, he can do the dramatic aspect of it as well. But, he's kind of a nobody with, I don't know. He's yet to break out fully. I forgot to say the bad part about Aaron Taylor Johnson. He's too well known, and he's known as a supporting man, and plus Craven.
That's not his
Craven
So,
sucks.
And for Paul Mescal, Gladiator 2, he did have a very wooden performance, as we talked about on Seen It Before. He doesn't have the prestige, but neither did Daniel Craig, as I was going to say beforehand. So, he's a theater actor, as you said, up and coming, often the cheap option. So that could be an option to play James Bond. Very enticing for studios. Too bad Amazon is a big conglomerate that doesn't care or give a shit about money. And also, Sean Connery, Scottish. George Lazenby, Australian. And Pierce Brosnan, Irish.
Exactly.
They don't have to be just
Let's
British.
do it
So-
for once. Let's commit to the bit and do British.
Oh no, there are 3 that are actually English.
are there?
So yeah, Roger Moore, Timothy Dalton, and Daniel Craig.
So it doesn't count.
Daniel Craig is British?
Yes.
Daniel
Oh
Craig
man,
is
I didn't know that.
All right, so without further ado,
man.
the most suave, capable, sophisticated Bond. And with the sweep, Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Let's go!
My son's safe. They'll keep me my money safe.
You know, I don't know a thing or two about being a parent, but you know what I would do?
I did like a lot of the. I liked a lot of things you guys said. Like, it made me want to watch more of Paul Mescal's and Jack O'Connell's movies.
Just watch Startup. It's a great.
As long
That
as
does sound good.
as long
I'm
as
fucking
Danny lost, that's all I needed. That's all I needed. That's all I needed.
I actually prepared.
You had to
this.
call in the
I
ringer.
don't need.
No,
to
I
call
can
in
tell
the
you,
ringer.
Danny. I can
Need
tell you
to
prepared.
lose.
You definitely prepared this time. All right.
Step.
Anyway, we're Duel of the Debates. You can find us on Instagram and TikTok with @Duel of the Debates. I'm Dan.
I'm Danny. You can find me at Instagram at Danny_Was. My letterbox is serialized at DJ Was, or my YouTube channel, which is just Danny Was.
And thank you as well to Cameron, our director, who does not have a mic, but he's been informing me on certain things throughout this, and he has been great. Anyway, John and Tom, we can't find you anywhere. We know. We
Straight
know.
ghost.
And 3 weeks in a row, we know.
Right here. You'll
Watch
see
Right
the
here.
debates.
And
defending the title. Can we get one, please?
oh,
Well, that's what
there
you're
might
asking.
be in the works.
Yeah, the BMF belt.
There might be something in the works soon, but you'll just have to stay tuned to Duel of the Debates and seen it before. Anyway, we'll see you next time.